tell me your story for you're gone.
Howdy, this is the Fresh Toones Show. My name is Dave Paltz, and today I'm going to do a follow-up story, part 2 of an interview I did with my mom and made a documentary of. It's the second part of that documentary, and she shares some more of her memories from growing up on that farm during the Depression out by the Finger Lakes. For being 92 at the time, she did a pretty good job of presenting those memories. To put the story in some context, most of what she's going to be speaking about took place in the 1920s when she was probably anywhere between 8 and high school. And I'm going to share part 2 of living on the farm, life on the farm during the Depression in New York State.
The milk was stored in a milk house because we had vats of really cold water in there to keep the milk fresh until it got taken to the train station. We had a separator in an ice house that separated the cream from the milk, because I remember my mother used to make butter. We had one of these old-fashioned churners that we had to keep pushing up and down with our hands until it got butter. When I got older, when the animals were out to pasture, I would have to go down before it was their milking time, get them out of the field, and we had to cross a railroad track into the lane and get them down back to the barn. And on the way to the barn was a water pump, and I would have to keep pumping while they were drinking and then chase them back into the barnyard. Get back here, you guys. We also had chickens, and I was not a chicken lover. I used to clean the eggs, because we took them to the Labdal store in Geneva to sell, so they had to be clean. But I did not like to go into the chicken coop. The chickens would just fly right towards you. They'd be in my head and sitting on my shoulders, and I'd be shooing them on their way. When Wall Street collapsed in 1929, we were not aware of what was happening. At least I wasn't. My parents never said anything about, not having enough to eat. Being farmers, we did have something to eat. We had milk, we had made our own butter, and we had a lot of things that a lot of people didn't have. So I was never aware that there was even a depression on. My sister was older, so she had the outdoor work more to do to help my father, and I always helped my mother. I was the housekeeper kind of that did the dishes and helped with the ironing and helped with doing everything she do, sweeping the floor. My mother was my teacher. We did our laundry in the little wood house right off of our house. We had a machine that turned the belt on the washing machine, very noisy. And then after it was washed and rinsed, we hung it out on the line to dry. And then it was very nice and fresh when we brought it in. Because we had no electricity in the house, my mother had a sewing machine that she had to use with a foot pedal. And she made all of the clothes for both my sister and I, and herself too. My Aunt Nellie would give us some older things that she had, some old coats and maybe dresses and skirts. And then my mother would take them and cut them down to our size and make all of our clothes. We were never able to go on vacations because of being farmers. We always had cows, and they always had to be brought in every day to be milked. And so we would do things probably mostly on a Sunday. We would go to Owasco Park, which had a nice beach, nice eating area, and they had a lot of fun things to do, like riding a roller coaster and the merry-go-round and all those fun things the kids like to do, and that was really a big day out for us. My parents would take us swimming, especially on nice hot days in the summer. We would go down to Seneca Lake and go swimming in just the lake, no special park or anything. And then we used to pick cherries in the summertime, too, on one of the cherry farms down near Seneca Lake. And sometimes we would go swimming afterwards because we were so sticky with juice we needed to get washed off. We had some pigs on the farm, which were used mostly naturally for food. So when it was time to make the sausage, all the family would gather at our house. And it was quite a process because all the intestines that were used to stuff the meat in had to be cleaned several days in advance, soaked in salt water and cleaned, really clean. And then we had a machine that we put those on, browned the meat first, and then it would go into these cleaned intestines to make sausage links, sausage rolls, and some of it we just used sausage patties, which did not require those. That was so good. Oh, we would fry it up as soon as we made it. Those were so good. The whole family worked on that. We had just a very small garden that we used just for our own use. Sweet corn, beans, and tomatoes, always tomatoes. We never had any fruit of our own. If we made jelly or something, we had to buy the strawberries and things that we made our jelly. At holiday time, we would usually go to my grandmother's house for Thanksgiving, and then they came to my father and mother's house for Christmas. Transportation in those times was with a cutter pulled by horses. It was like a sleigh with runners on it, a big sleigh with runners on it, that you could get up and sit in, and we'd bundle all up real tight, cozy, and go and visit our aunts and uncles, and stay for a little while and back home again. When I was growing up, birthdays were not that big, but Christmas was a little bit different. But it wasn't like it is today. If we had a bag of nuts and a bag of oranges, we thought that was a big deal. Living in the country, you don't have those things. We had a Christmas tree in our living room, and so these nuts and oranges were placed under the Christmas tree, and we thought that was a big deal. We would make popcorn balls, or my mother probably would, and they were made with popcorn that we popped ourselves in a kettle on the stove, and some kind of a molassesy syrup that she poured over the top, and we would make them into balls, and that was a good real treat too at Christmas time. When I went to school, it was a one-room schoolhouse about 1.5 miles from where we lived. And in order to keep the school open, they had to have 3 children registered in the school. So my sister was older, so she was able to go with another friend, and I was only 5, and I wasn't supposed to go because I wasn't supposed to go till 6. There was no kindergarten then. We started right in 1st grade. So I let me go to school at 5 in order to keep our school open. In the middle of the school was a pot-belly stove that warmed the school, and on the top of it was a grate, and we would bring potatoes for our lunch, put them on the grate in the morning, and by the time noon came, our potatoes were all baked, and we could have a nice warm lunch. We had one teacher, it's Mrs. Omar, and we had her first for all 8 grades because she was the only teacher there. But I remember liking school a lot. We did all of our homework by lamplight. One of my eyes became strained doing my homework by lamplight. In the winter, when the weather was really bad and you'd get a big snowstorm where we couldn't even get down the road, we would stay at my grandmother's house, which was right across from the school. So we had fun there. My grandfather was German, and he had an accordion, and he would play that accordion, and we would dance, and we were just having the best time. So it wasn't anything sad that happened when we couldn't walk home from school. We had well taken care of. I always liked to read poetry, and I liked to make up poetry. One of my favorite poems was Trees, written by Joyce Filmer. It was just something about it that was so soothing and really, I guess, so true. I can always remember the last line where it says, "Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree." On every Sunday, we would go to church. My sister and I did not go to Sunday school because it was before church, and so it was too early for us to get there at that time because of living on a farm. But in church, our family had about maybe 4 or 5 pews that kind of was not reserved exactly, but was just kept special for our family. All my father's sisters, brothers, their families, we all sat in one section. When I went to high school at Waterloo, that was the nearest high school that we were in the district for, First we had to go by bus, and naturally after coming from one school, it was a big school. But, I enjoyed high school. We had to again take our lunch, and we had gym occasionally. We weren't too good at it, but we did have gym there and had a good time in high school. When I graduated in high school in 1936, I had won a little scholarship in business. And my parents did not want me to lose out on the opportunity to go to school to get a further education. So I went to the Rochester Business Institute.
Well, there were certainly a lot of people experiencing a lot of hard times during the Depression. My mom was kind of sheltered because they lived on a farm, but eventually even out on the farm it would catch up with them, and my grandfather lost his farm not too long after this part of the story ended. I'll share more about that in the next part of the story the first week of next month. To go along with the thoughts about how hard it must have been for folks, I'm going to play a song called Nobody Knows the Troubles I've Seen. Oh, nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Nobody knows but Jesus. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Glory, hallelujah. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down. Oh, yes, Lordy, Lordy. Sometimes I'm almost to the ground. Oh, yes, Lordy, Lordy. Oh, nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Nobody knows but Jesus. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Glory, hallelujah. Now you may think that I don't know. Yes, Lordy, Lordy. But I've had my troubles here below. Yes, Lordy, Lordy. Oh, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows but Jesus. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Glory, hallelujah. One day when I was walking along, oh yes, Lordy, Lordy, the sky opened up and love came down. Oh yes, Lordy, Lordy. Oh, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows but Jesus. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Glory, hallelujah. One more time. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Nobody knows but Jesus. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Glory, hallelujah. I believe that last song, Nobody Knows the Troubles I've Seen, stemmed from an old spiritual, and certainly people had some very hard days back then. This is a fresh tune called It's been a long, hard day.
It's been a long, hard day. It's been a long, hard day. The light awoke me just like any other day. I had no thoughts of what might come my way. I just awakened to another day. I know the sun doesn't always shine. The sun might not always be mine, but I have a few words to say. It's been a long, hard day. Picked up the sword to defend myself, butchered my soul, now I fight to find the light in the days that fill our nights. Been walking through the burning cold with bare feet, and don't you know that ice can burn just like the sun? The warmth you want is called your love. It's been a long, hard day. It's been a long, hard day. It's been a long, hard day.
This next song is a Depression-era song by Woody Guthrie called So Long, It's Been Good to Know Ya. Well, I've sung this song, but I'll sing it again, of the people I've met in the places I've been, of some of their troubles that bothered my mind, and a lot of people that I've left behind, singing so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. What a long time since I've been home, and I've got to be drifting along. I walked down the street to the grocery store. It was crowded with people, both rich and poor. I asked the man how his butter was sold. He said 1 pound of butter for 2 pounds of gold. I said, so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. What a long time since I've been home, and I've gotta be drifting along. The church, it was jammed, the church, it was packed. The pews were all crowded from the front to the back. The preacher was preaching and then took a break. They took up the collection and off he did take, singing, so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. What a long time since I've been home, and I've gotta be drifting along. Well, the folks on the soapbox speak so loud and so strong, say, oh, they'll cut all our taxes, right all that is wrong. But when they're elected, they forget what they've said. Now they say, so long, people, Now that I'm in saying so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. What a long time since I've been home, and I've got to be drifting along. Bye-bye now. And that's what they say after they're elected. I love Woody Guthrie's songs. It's basically where I learned to play a lot of songs, and and often I've added verses to Woody Guthrie's songs. So thank you, Woody. This is the Fresh Toones Show, and today I started out with my mom telling part of her story from growing up on a farm during the Depression, and I've been playing some songs that have been kind of related to that time period. But I figure I'm going to end up today's show on some upbeat songs, and even if things seem a little dark sometimes for us today, we can always have faith that the sun will come out again, and maybe we can actually grow and experience something that we never would have experienced before in our closeness with others. Even though we may have to keep our distance, spiritually we can still be close. This song is a George Harrison song called Here Comes the Sun. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, the smile's returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. The sun, 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 here it comes. Oh, sun, 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 here it comes. Oh, little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Oh, little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. It's alright. Well, I think I'll end up today's Fresh Toones Show with a song that I wrote about my mom. It's called When Love Is All You've Got. There was a girl of the Finger Lakes, and she grew up on a farm. There were hard times in America, but still she found some way with the love of her family and a faith in God above. She did her chores joyfully, although the chickens were not her friends. Well,
they sold their crops and they ate what they could not. Prepared their food with joy and they savored every crumb. There was a girl of the Finger Lakes, and she grew up on a farm. There were hard times in America, but still she found some way. She walked to school every day. In that one room she learned her ABCs. Only a baked potato for her lunch, but it warmed her to the core. And Sunday she'd sing her praise to Jesus for everything they had. It might not seem like much when love is all you've got, but gold will never feed your soul. It might not seem like much when love is all you've got, but gold will never feed your soul.
Well, that's it for the Fresh Toones Show this week. I hope everyone's staying safe. Do your exercise, be creative, share your love with folks. Be sure to appreciate all the folks around you, especially the healthcare workers that are working so hard to take care of people. Try and have a good week. So long now.
Tell me your story for your